And welcome to Deck Tech. Today we are playing Grave Hydra. It's a deck voted on by our patrons. The build around card for the deck is Polukranos or Polukranos, however you want to pronounce it. I'm going to go both directions all the time. Basically a legendary Hydra that comes in very big, loses counters when it takes damage. Here he is right here. And it can fight things. We like lots of mana. Hydra's Growth is kind of another requested card in the deck. We're trying to make it work, so we are fine with this just to see how it goes. We are, of course, playing best of 3, the only way to play, and we are playing ranked so that people take their game seriously and are playing legit decks. We do like to see a Mire Triton as an early play since we did not have one yet. Our opponent is Bant. Okay. Mill ourselves a little. The reason we have the self mill is for the escape cost on Polukranos. The 2/1 death touch is not something we trifled with anyway. Okay, if he bounces out, we're fine. Just playing Temple and playing Mire Triton again. Boop. Make sure that we mill ourselves before we scry. We do not need any more lands right now. Next turn is probably Polukranos. Okay, he can cast at sorceries at Flash, so if he wants to board wipe, he may. Okay, he can still do stuff at instant speed, so we'll probably actually play Nylea instead, just to play around a possible board wipe, or he could be holding a counterspell as well. So we'd rather get Polukranos counterspell than Nylea, because we could escape him, exile 6 other cards. So we're going to play a white land, and it's going to be a Godless Shrine. The question is, which do we play? This plays about on the board wipe. Neither of them, I don't like. They're about the same counterspell wise, so we'd rather play around the board wipe. Now, board wipe protection. We don't have many ways to get Polukranos indestructible, so there's that. We have ways to protect him from single target removal. Okay. Then we're going to play Polukranos, and it's going to get blown up by a board wipe. And then we will escape it the turn after. That is my current assumption of play pattern. We're probably going to not put the Hydra's Growth on unless we find a God's Willing to give him protection. Really looking for a Shadow Spear right now to give him trample. But what we can do is we can have him fight the forest and then go in for Nissa. So if we put Hydra's Growth on him, we have him fight the forest. That puts him from 7 down to 4, 5, 6. We can kill Nissa. We don't have enough mana to do that because of Elspeth Conquers Death. 3, 4, 5. So we're 1 counter shy. We'll probably still have it fight. Yeah. Tap for green. I go to combat. Do 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 do. Problem is he's got a lot of manas next turn. Big Hydroid Crisis maybe. So colors wise, we're pretty good on white. So it doesn't really matter what we play. We have a lot of lands. Now, the lot of lands is symptom of the fact that we have 26 because of the issues we've had before with not enough lands. I don't know if we have any Planeswalker hate in our sideboard. So this is going to be a Hydroid Crisis. for x equals 6. Nope. He made a boo-boo. Tapped all that mana and then went to combat and lost all that mana. So we can actually play Polukranos, have it fight the Temple Garden, and swing in on Nissa. Which is, I think, what we're going to do. Yeah, just making sure the auto tapper taps correctly for us. Pew pew! Okay. Then I'll move to combat. And kill me a Nissa. Alright, I'm expecting the board wipe sooner rather than later. And if he doesn't do it, we're going to have to play Hydra's Growth anyway. And that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. So what we can do is we actually kill the fairy. Problem is, looking at our hand, looking at their hand, they have 5 cards, we have 4, and guess how many of ours are lands? Yeah. Talk about flooded. We do have a Casualties of War. If we draw that, we can get rid of the Elspeth Conquers Death next turn, so he doesn't get back his Nissa. It's a very weak Hydroid Krasis, meaning he has another Hydroid Krasis in hand. Glowspore might get us a Polukranos in the graveyard. Yes. Decline. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could escape it. I am worried about a board wipe next turn. How many do we have to exile? 6? Oh. We just got to play into the board wipe, I guess. He gets back a Nissa, has lots and lots of manas. Or I guess he could bounce. He could get a fairy and bounce our Polukranos. Either way, Elspeth Conquers Death. It's a pretty good card. We might bring in our Enchantment Hate just to remove him getting stuff back from the graveyard. Or we could get some Graveyard Hate and make sure that he can't get stuff back that way. Might be an okay deck for Black Leyline. Okay, this time he's going to cast a big Krasis correctly. Elspeth Conquers Death. No, this is Shadow of the Sky. Blowing up his own Temple of Plenty. Elspeth Conquers Death. I don't know. This person is surprising me all sorts of ways. Yeah. 'Twas our worry. Okay, so Sorin could get back 1 if he was in the graveyard, which he is not. So we will give our creatures lifelink. We will go to combat and attack a Nissa. And then since he killed the Glowspore, we can now -2 to get it back. Since we want to start filling up our graveyard again for the next Polukranos. And this Elspeth Conquers Death routine is getting kind of old, because he's gotten 3 of them so far in his top 20 cards. So, I mean, there's a chance for that, but it's not in favorable odds. Bouncing our Mire Triton would be my assumption. If we ever find another Polukranos. Look at this. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. That's plenties. Alright, so kill the multicolored land. Find us Polukranos. Nope. And we can actually... look at this. He has 4 lands. We have whatever I said before. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He has 4. We have 11. Like, we would like some cards that aren't lands. Problem is he's going to have more than 4 because he can ult Nissa. It's still game 1, right? Yeah. He's got an indestructible blocker. Let's see how many force he can actually pull out. I actually think Nissa should have been written to be basic forests, but that's just me. Hey look, he now has more lands than us. We're fine replaying with Mire Triton. We would love to just keep milling ourselves to find a Polukranos. I think we mill first, then scry. Not quite sure if it's worth continuing to play this match. Like, I don't know. The amount of mana he has available now and the amount of cards in hand, he's going to be able to close out the match pretty soon.
I have a plan.
He can board wipe at his discretion. Dream Trawler. So we'd have to target Dream Trawler 6 times with Polukranos. We're still drawing lands. Look at us. Aren't we just good land finders? Soren can get back just Glow Spores and Mires. Do 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 do. Look, we found one. Decline. We got a Vigilant Indestructible Blocker. Do we have any Shadow Spears left? So I don't see any Shadow Spears in the graveyard. I do see one in Exile. So we still have a chance to turn his indestructible lands destructible. Trying to decide if we run another escape creature in this deck, because look at all that in the graveyard. 12? I don't know. Polukranos eats it up pretty fast, 6 at a time. Now he's making more indestructibles. Really need that Shadow Spear sooner rather than later. We're fine trading a Glow Spore for the Knight. Opponent still has 6 cards in hand. Bajillion manas. So, if he's not paying attention, he could deck himself, but I don't see that happening before we die at this point. Because Dream Trawler is 3 turns we die. Uru is very killable. Problem is, whenever we target the Dream Trawler, discard a card. Dream Trawler gains hexproof until end of turn. So, I mean, we could make sure he can't attack with it every turn by just trying to fight it. Like, maybe that's what we do. Do-do-do-do-do. So things that come out first, I think lands and non-creatures, because we can get back creatures with Sorens. Sorens can't get back Sorens. We might be out of Sorens in the deck now that I've looked at how many were in the graveyard. But just kind of a good habit to be in. So we have a Death Sprout and a fight. So before he moves to combat, that's what we do. We could just do a couple fights, but I think I'd rather Death Sprout at this point. I think we fight it now. Before it gets any power, so that if he does resolve it, Polukranos stays bigger. Resolve. Spells your abilities opponents control can't cause you to discard cards or sacrifice permanents. Resolve.
The moon looks intriguing tonight.
Yeah, that's a thing.
The storied past holds our future.
Yeah. Nom nom nom. So, if we could draw 2 cards at a time, which I don't think we can, Shadow Spear and Ritual of Soot. The Ritual of Soot doesn't hit Dream Trawler. So, I don't even know why we're looking at our next draw. Okay, things that come in. Anti-Planeswalker. What do we got that's Anti-Planeswalker? I think we have some E2 Extinctions. Those exile them, that's nice. We don't have as many E2 Extinctions as I thought. Mystic Repeal, I don't know if it's good for the Elspeth Conquers Death. It might be worth it. Dresses, because he's got a million Planeswalkers. Agonized Remorses, because he's got a million things we don't like. Because he's kind of slow and whatnot. Ritual Soot wasn't in main deck, that's why, I mean, silly me. God's Willing will stop an Elspeth from Conquer's Death from hitting our target. Mire Tritons and Glowspore Shamans might not be worth it versus him. I think we go a little more late game. Because there was one point during that match where we were feeling pretty good, and then what happened? He got a Nissa out that resolved for too long, and we flooded. No, it's mainly we flooded. So I think the Mire Tritons can come out. I think Assassin's Trophy is acceptable. Shadow Spear. He doesn't have many blockers, so the trample part might not be worth it. It's mainly what it's in here for. The permanents lose. Hexproof and Indestructible isn't so bad, but I don't think that's going to be a thing. Hydra's Growth, we might just keep it in just because we're trying to play with it. Death Sprout can kill Crazies pretty well. We'll just take out the Hydra's Growth. Hydra's Growth is really good for making a 12-12 Polukranos into a 20... It's a 13, so it's a 26 on the next turn. 3 lands, playable Glowspore, acceptable. Glowspore gets us to 4 lands for sure, or not for sure, but much higher chance, and 4 gives us a Sorin and a Polukranos. So, tapeted land first. Why shock yourself if you don't have to? Ooh, Duress is going to be next turn for sure. If we have a land choice, we want temples. Nope, no lands. Ooh, we have a glow spore and a duress. Definitely want a 4th land, please. Thank you. We don't want a temple, but I don't think it's worth risking. So we could risk that the top one is not. Yeah, we just got to do the temple. That's unfortunate, though. So Teferi actually doesn't scare us at this point. So it's the Elspeth Conquers Death. Because if Teferi comes in and bounces one of the glow spores, that's good for us because we have something to do next turn. If Teferi comes in and doesn't bounce a glow spore, then we just kill it. And of course he top decks a removal that actually interacts with our board, and yeah. No, I'm not bitter. Whatever gave you that thought? Mystic Repeal should have come in just for the glass caskets. I didn't think about that. Okay, now Teferi can bounce the glow spore. He's got a Dream Trawler and a Krasis. We don't have any creatures in graveyard for Sorin to bring back, so Sorin's not the play. So it's going to be Polukranos. If he plays a Krasis, we can fight it and go kill a Teferi, because Krasis would only be a 3. Then we could still play Glowspore Shaman. We're going to put a land on top so we can Casualties of War. Because you can't block someone that kills you before combat. That's the Polukranos song, in case you're wondering. Gargos is going to be fun to try out if we can get, I guess that is a 3rd green. So, the question is, do we Casualties of War, forcing him to discard a card and getting back a Glow Spore and killing one of his lands? Do we play Gargos? I think we play Gargos. Well, what does Sorin do for us? Sorin can get back a Polukranos is about all he can do. So, problem is, I want to spend 3 mana to tap down the Dream Trawler like we did last game as soon as possible, but that's not going to happen unless we get a bigger Polukranos on board. So, we'll Gargos first. Also, Casualties of War will be not much better when he has a Planeswalker on board. And now we can, if you notice, escape a Polukranos from the graveyard for 2 mana. So it'll come out and then fight. Yeah, do the Dream Trawler thing. Fairy. Bouncing our Gargos. He's got to read the Gargos. Is it spells or abilities? No, it's just spells. Unfortunately for us. Okay, so we can already just kill Teferi. Okay, now we have enough to do a Sorin and a fight, so we could get out a 6/6 Polukranos, hold up a fight. Yeah, I think that's what we do. So next, I don't think we're worried about. Yeah. So I don't know what he's holding up mana-wise. If Sorin revolves, we bring back the Polukranos that's in the graveyard, because we're fine with him being smaller. We'll keep the bigger one. Thank you. We call that the Hydra dance. We're going to have him fight before he scries, so that he is a harder decision of what to discard. So we can keep this Dream Trawler tapped every turn. And it costs him a card to do so every turn. I don't like that he kept one on top, though. I think Casualties of War makes its appearance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, we just got to hold up fights. Because we can hold up, we can do 2 fights next turn. So he discards one, then we activate it again. And he has to do it again. So I got to keep one card. So, Polukranos versus Dream Trawler. Polukranos wins. Bant Control versus... Wow, how do we... Soul Tie? What are we? I don't even know my colors. Versus Mid-Range. Not Soul Tie. Why can I never remember white? White, green, black. Nope. Don't make fun of me. Tameo getting back what? To Fairy? Elspeth conquers death. So, Casualties of War may make an appearance because he is out of cards in hand, and except for whatever card he puts to hand right now. Although he doesn't have blockers, so...
No tail should be discarded.
Show remorse.
So we have enough for a Polukranos
That's more like it.
and a fight. So we like lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Next. Die, Temu! Hello, Gargus, my old friend. Hi, Gargos. Polukranos. It's the same thing. So I think he has a land in hand, but we still want to do this as soon as he untaps. Heyo. Na 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 na. Polukranos is gonna start a fight. This Dream Trawler Polukranos interaction is actually real hilarious to me. Like, this is it's very weird. And we just need more mana. Like, look at all these big spells in our hand that we're not doing anything with. We got a Polukranos in the graveyard, one in play, one in hand. Couldn't find him last game to save our life, but now we have 3 of him. Nom nom nom. What you don't know is we have another one in hand.
I have a plan.
Okay, so I think he's going to board wipe. And I think we're fine escaping a Polukranos so that he has to board wipe. What does he got? He's either got a Dream Trawler or a Shatter the Sky or a Time Wipe. Do you not run Time Wipe these days? So we don't want to play Gargos into a board wipe. We're fine escaping or playing a Polukranos just because we have another one in hand. We've got 9 cards in graveyard, so if we escape him, that means we can't escape future ones. Glowspore Shaman threatens 9 on him. He could have an Elspeth Conquers Death. Decisions. So I think we're fine with the board wipe plan. So we play the Shaman. Play a Polukranos from hand. It's threatening lethal, so he's forced to actually board wipe, which he still can do for our turn. And he's going to do. But we got plenty in graveyard to actually escape, so we're okay with this. Okay, perfect. Casualties of War. I know the creature, the land, the enchantment, and the planeswalker that we're going to try blowing up. Hopefully he has nothing else like a counterspell in his hand right now, because that would be really awkward. Because this is the line of play that we were looking to do. So land, planeswalker, creature, artifact. That's not an enchantment. Land. Boop. Please don't be a counterspell. Please don't be a counterspell. You've been top decking this entire time. Oh, guess what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to put it on top of my deck and do that again next turn. And we will still play the Scryland at top. I don't know what's holding priority for him. He just must be in full control mode. Okay, we want to see him go 2 bottom. If he keeps one on top, that means Casualties of War is not resolving next turn. Okay, so Casualties of War probably not resolving. Although it took him a while to decide that, so it makes me wonder. Maybe it's a Hydra Crisis. I mean, I just gotta go for broke. Planeswalker, land, creature, artifact. Choose a creature. Choose a land. Woohoo! We're down to 4 life. I didn't really pay attention to that recently. Also, I didn't realize we had 2 Casualties of War. That seems really weird. Why is there a second Casualties of War? You can tell that I had a concussion last week. Okay. Tessa. So as much as I want Casualties of War, we might be forced to bring out a Polukranos. No, we're going to Casualties. What am I thinking? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we could Gargos and Polukranos, but not fight. Shadow the Sky, we go to 1. Holy misses, Batman! Okay, having a God's Willing is good. So, we can Gargos and Polukranos, but then if he has a Shadow of the Sky, we lose for sure. That's fine. We gotta play it out. So, I kind of want to fight the land, though. I don't know. We've never tried this line of play, so we'll try it now. Lands and non-creatures. That's all we need to worry about. Oh, and we have a fight with God's willing anyway. Because Gargos will fight something. Resolve. Shocking in lands is not a good sign for us. Means he has enough to shatter the sky.
Rise, my elemental friend.
So these are lands without color, so giving them our creatures pro color isn't going to do anything. God's willing did work finally. Yay! Game 3. Alright, so Casket is an artifact, not an enchantment. I need to remember that. Return to Nature can come in though, just for that. Shadow Spear might be nice just for another life. Gain effect. What did we have this game that we didn't want? I think we liked most of what we drew. The Polukranos just drew too many of him. We love Casualties of War. It's really hard late game to get to. He's on the play. Sorns were a little clunky, but if we had gotten a Sorin late game, we would have been happy. Just for the lifelink, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's the Sorin comes out. Or an Nylea. What would we rather see, a Sorin or a Nylea? We'd rather see a Sorin because he's not Teferiable, he's static, he's a threat that they have to, their low creature count can't deal with as easily. Nylea does not have reach despite being crazy looking like that. Might be the Gargos. He sat in our hand for a very long time last game. Or maybe we just don't put in the Return to Nature. Maybe that's what it is. Although exiling an Uro or an Elspeth and stuff is nice too. We'll go down to Nylea. Alright. So. First game, super flooded. Second game, very touch and go. Third game, to be determined. A dress is nice. We don't have to... So the dress, we want to hold it as long as possible, but before he can do things. So I think a temple is fine. He plays 1, we play temple. He plays 2. We go turn 3, like right before his 3rd mana, we duress, get rid of a... what's his face? Teferi. Do we want a 5th land? Yes, I think we want a 5th land. Because we'll just go Sorin, uptick him, go to Cavalier. Very slow and steady kind of match for us. Boop. Glass Casket or Aether Gust? That, didn't follow why we did it that way. Because Cavalier of Thorns is our next for sure play. And Aether Gust can hit the Thorns. It's going to have a Krasis sooner rather than later. We're not a fan. Scrying for what? Something to deal with Krasis. Polukranos gives us a 4 mana play that Casket can't hit. Yeah, we're okay with that. Because we put Polukranos next turn, and then Cavalier of Thorns a turn after. Start threatening him. The sooner we start threatening him, the sooner he's forced to use the Hydra Krasis for very weak. Yeah, and Polukranos can actually threaten Tamiyo, which is what we need.
It is an honor to meet you.
It's actually probably a card we would like to run, but it's in blue. Shadow the Sky is what I'm guessing. Nissa. Okay, that makes more sense. Alright, so we got one black, bunch of white. I'd rather play... I don't know if I want to shock in the Godless Shrine yet. Him being on the play and having that ramp is giving him significant tempo advantage at the moment. Hoping he didn't draw an Elspeth Conquers Death, although he doesn't have 2 white mana for it, so that's fine.
I have learned much.
Okay, he went searching for 2 white mana. So he probably has an Elspeth Conquers Death. Which means we then play the Thorns. Nope, he went for blue. He's going to bring in the Uro. So what we do here is a very fun little thing I haven't seen happen yet, but hopefully we all get to see it work the way I expect it to. We're going to give Polukranos protection from green, and then have it fight Uro, and then go kill a Tamiyo. It's hilarious. Oh, please don't have an answer. Please work the way I want it to. Agonizing Remorse. We will keep that on top. Protection from green. I take no damage. Boop. Probably not worth it, but it was hilarious. Like, there might have been a more ideal play pattern, but if I knew of a more fun play pattern, I would have done it, but I think that was the best one. And also, killing a Tamiyo is a big deal. Okay, so next turn is Agonizing. And Sorin? We could play Sorin, swing in. If he blocks, bring Polukranos back. So I think what we do is see what he's got. Is it the Hydra Crisis? View battlefield. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's making Crisises for 6 and then for 7 next turn. Nissa makes them even bigger. Can we handle a Nissa or can we handle a Crisis more? So, Uro's not a threat to us. The Crisises are, I think. Nissa for more mana. Yeah, it's a Crisis. So one problem with us playing the Sorin for life gain is that Sorin can't survive a Hydra Crisis. So, as much as I wanted to gain the life, he probably wouldn't have blocked if that was the case. And then we play the Sorin, get back the Polukranos. Because we're not at escape numbers yet. So, he could play Uro. You can't escape an Uro. How much is it for them? 5? So we're looking for ways... We're looking for casualties of war, I think. Just to kill the Nissa and the land and a land. So we don't really have much card draw in this deck. Maybe we need to run a Return of the Wild Speaker or something like that. Just draw 6 cards. for 5 mana, but I mean we wouldn't be able to. We'd still be short on mana for that, so it is what it is. Alright, so again, the protection from a color of your choice doesn't work because this is not. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with vigilance and haste and is still a land. It does not add color. So, I think we just threaten Nissa. Yep. Yeah. So he's got glass casket and what? Scrying, top or bottom. Top is not good for us. We do have a God's Willing. So depending on what it is, we have protection from it. Looking for a scry land at this point. Polukranos is always nice. We don't want to give away the fact that we have a God's Willing, but I think if he's paying attention, he would have seen that we have priority enough. Doo-doo-doo. That's a big Hydroid Crisis. I don't think we have a response to a really nasty big Hydroid Crisis. This is why we got rid of the first Hydroid Crisis that we saw, is because we didn't want him doing what he's about to do. So we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can escape a Polukranos, have protection ready, and then fight, give him protection and fight the Crisis next time, because that is a 16. It doesn't kill us. He's also drawn 8 cards. Like, I think this is game at this point. Okay, we do have Remorse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The problem is if we Remorse, we can't have a God's Willing. If we Remorse, we're less likely to need a God's Willing. If we Cavalier of Thorns dies, what do we put on top? Casualties of War. Decisions. Because we could double swing at Nissa. Getting our Thorns basically killed. It's most likely what happens. This only escapes as a 12. So I think we go with the entertaining plays, not the necessarily more likely correct play. Boop. So we can block with the Thorns, preventing us from taking 16 damage. But I think I'd rather save that block for when we have a Polukranos fight option. See, I don't think he has a way to just deal 3 damage, and I don't know if putting Casualties of War on top is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because we could Agonizing Remorse and then Casualties of War. Yeah, so we'll block. We'll put the Casualties of War on top. Boop. Now, if he's got another big Crisis, it's just game. Because we need to blow up the Crisis with Casualties. and then block most of what he sends at us. Problem is, this 8 cards ahead, Nissa mana. The fact that Nissa makes attackers, doubles mana, like, there's a lot going for her. If he puts enough attackers on board, then even with casualties, we can't survive. The land we'd blow up is one of his elementals. The creature we blow up is the Krasis. The planeswalker is Nissa. The enchantment, if he gets an enchantment on board, that means we lost because it's Elspeth Conquers Death. So that means they'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers. Yeah, he'll have too many attackers. We have to get some sort of life gain too, which we don't have an option for. So if he doesn't do the math and realize he can all swing on us next turn, then we might survive, but that's our only option I think at this point, because we are dead on board next turn with what he's got going. No reason to scry. So it's Agonizing Remorse first to get rid of a counter spell. Which does, of course, 1 damage to us. It's not a good thing. Okay, so it's good that we did it, because he did have a counterspell. So we need a planeswalker, a land, and a creature. Creature, land, planeswalker. So I guess we're not dead on board. We're 1 shy. Okay, now we're dead on board. He has been the top deck master. Every time we hate the hand, there's just one more thing going on. Anyway, we're gonna keep this replay. I mean this matchup because it's been kind of fun. My most exciting interaction was the whole Dream Trawler Polukranos interaction. I think that was this game, right? Yeah, it's been some matches. They were some close stuff. Anyway, have fun, y'all.